Привет из Дубая. С вами передача «Голубь мира», где разбираем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about attention and let's start with the definition.
It's very funny, but I was thinking about attention. This is amount of efforts you're applying to learn something or to listen somebody. But when I was trying to learn how to drive car in anti-accident mode, suddenly I was learned that it's a very simple mechanics. If you are focused on something in this way, you will drive the car. So if, for example, you're going to some car accident, you should be attentive to other point, and your hands will automatically switch the track of your car. Second, I was trying to understand how to learn, for example, several languages, or how to learn huge formulas or big tables, and suddenly my teachers in different countries were telling almost the same story. You are able to learn the subject if you are very attentive. And I was thinking, maybe attention is the most powerful tool we have in our head.
And maybe again, like to slightly extend the definition. So what might be the difference between the attention, focus, or even the concentration?
When we are talking in Russian, I could give you a good example, but in English, I will try. Okay, if we talk about concentration, this is about square. How big is square you applying force? For example, if you will put needle in the ground, it will go easy, but with the same force, you couldn't put upside down nail. Yes, by the sharp part, you could put it in the ground, but upside down, it is impossible. If you talk about focus, this is like about laser beam. If we are trying, for example, to put our flashlight to the moon, we will see nothing because it is, I don't know how to say, рассеивается.
Dissolve.
Because this light goes to dissolve. But if it is laser beam, it is going sharp. It is focus. And attention is an amount of time and amount of efforts, amount of willpower you apply to something.
So actually, this was my next question. When it comes to the willpower, probably it's like one of the contributing factors. You mentioned at one of the lectures that willpower is something that you can't really train. Basically, you just need to understand some of the principles and use it as the battery that is like a replenished daily, or maybe like a in between, like a resting cycles. But like when it comes to attending to certain items, what other like forces or skills of knowledge or understanding, or maybe like a lenses you need to apply in order to make sure that whatever you want to put your attention, you make sure you hold it and you achieve what you want.
It's very funny. I'll give you some answers, and maybe I will wonder you and our listeners and watchers. First, try to keep as many как можно меньше, as little as possible,
As less
as possible amount of decisions. For example, my wife now, she doesn't wondering, but I am completely refusing to order something in a restaurant. I am always saying, make your choice. The reason is I am very tired, and maybe I will need some attention to speak with my colleagues or with my students at the night. When, for example, I am going to shop something like shorts and so on, when I'm hesitating to buy a blue one or to white one, I always buy 2 shorts, 2 boots, 2 suits, 2 pair of socks. I don't want to think about this. Yes, I know that Steve Jobs always used like black sweaters, but I think this is not good. Better to buy everything in 2 or in 3. If you are hesitating, you could choose at home. If you will like, you will wear. If you don't like, you just will note that you are not using this for a very long time. And also, you should understand that you could not have more than 2 tasks in each moment. So you should understand what are these tasks. You have just 2 hands, and you have like two levers, and you just keep your hands busy. So you couldn't have a third hand and put on some other wheels or lever.
But I do believe like sometimes like being busy is like people like to wear it as a badge of honor. And I mean like I'm putting like a quotes because they always like to say like, hey, I'm actually quite busy and like so much stuff going on. And I do believe there's also might be like a social or even like the office or business pressure for you to like to push the bar higher and like take as much as possible. So how to actually being aware that like your attention and like your ability to accomplish things or make the decisions quite limited, how to resist to this and how to actually protect your attention from many things coming to your plate.
When I was working for Americans and for people from England, from France, from Spain, I usually saw that they never take their phones to the conference room. They just put them close to the secretary and everyone was going with empty hands. But when I was working in Ukraine, when I was working in Russia, in Kazakhstan, especially in Belarus, I was seeing that a lot of people were trying to speak via WhatsApp, Viber, Facebook, Messenger. They are trying to read post and reply on it, and it's very different cultures. In first example, people were very focused to discuss something urgent and something important. In second, everyone was thinking maybe no one will know that I am not taking part of in something. And I was thinking for myself, if I will be attentive to any issue which is important, maybe I will learn from everybody. But if I will stay in phone or in notebook, I will be switch out from the life. So I assume that if you want to be attentive, never use any gadgets in conference room.
So it's actually reminded me of one very interesting expression, I would say. So people sometimes they would say, now you have my undivided attention, meaning that, like we also might be attacked by different gadgets or like by anything, I would say like ads, other people or whatever. So again, like when it comes to protecting your attention, whether it's probably could give a competitive advantage when you actually can say no to pretty much anything, or maybe building the barriers and actually can like live without your gadget but only with your thoughts that you have in your mind, so that you can focus on something and get it done even if it only happens in your head.
It's funny. One of my teachers, which was teaching me etiquette, she were telling me, if you are going to theater, do not think how to wear your clothes. Better before 2 hours, drink half of the cup, very sweet and not hot, крепкий чай.
Strong tea.
Strong tea. Then after 1 hour, you could eat a small piece of bread. In this case, you have enough calories to be at the theater, but you will have no voice calling you to toilet. And when you are choosing your clothes, never use something which will make noise, which will disturb the actors. So your beauty doesn't matter, but your sounds which will surround you by, I don't know, by your heels, by your boots, by something which is very new and metallics, will disturb the actors, and it is not allowed.
At the beginning of the podcast, I actually was referring to the thing that willpower can't be trained. So when it comes to the attention, can we still go to this like gym and actually try to train or maybe improve the skill or maybe discover like a different gradients of it?
Yes, this is quite controversial with start of our podcast, but yes, we can train it, and I will explain how I do it. When I was trying to be a pupil, I was learning at the school, and also I was going to musical school, to touristic кружок section. Touristic section and so on. And for 1 or 2 months, you will be very tired. At the end of the day, you will be not able to do anything at home. But when you will see, and when you will have much more occupations,
classes,
you will see that sometimes you are getting better and better. And right now I am trying to be responsible for 5 projects. I am studying and giving lectures in School of Troubleshooters. I am responsible for clinic of my wife. I am going 3 times per day in gym. I read almost each day for whole book and so on. And there is a saying, there was a huge family, and the main person, husband, come to the Rebbe. This is kind of like a priest in Jewish beliefs, and told to him, I have a very hard life. Give me an advice. And suddenly Rebbe told to him, buy a goat. And this man was thinking, why I'm buying a goat? And he buys a goat because it was an advice of a wise man. And after 1 week, he also returned to this Rebbe and was saying, my life became even worse. And then Rebbe told to him, okay, then sell goat. And after 1 week, this man was quite happy. Yes, I am sell the goat, and now I have a little free time, and I'm quite happy. So if you have a lot of occupation in your life, try to have one more, and one more. For example, even our podcast. For sure, Maxim, you are quite busy in Dubai and you have a lot to do. You are a newcomer, you are a rookie. You should learn a lot of. Maybe you have not all the things you need to wear, or maybe in your flat is lack of something, but you are like worshipping for this podcast, and you trying to use your time also for this one. This is your goal.
And actually, yeah, I could relate to that, because I do believe at the beginning it was like some sort of like, yeah, I need to do this. Now it's like basically non-negotiable. Basically, just like if it's in the calendar, it should be done. But then my question is like, what should be the motivation of actually putting so many things to stack, and even try to treat it as the something that like expands? Because at a certain point of time, maybe like relatives or friends, or maybe like this. I would call it like a thinky inner voice would say like, hey, how about you just not like give it too much of the efforts? How about you just get some rest? So what should be the, maybe not even the motivation, but what should be the goal of having so many things that you put your attention on?
You should divide all your attention in several cycles. First, which are no doubt you should do it. For example, this is business of your mom, of your dad, or some relatives. They were responsible for you for a very long time, and now your turn to pay debts. Second, this is your family, your wife, your husband, your kids. You should have spare time for them and spare attention, because they could wait you for all the day to tell something, to explain something, to ask something. You should have spare time. And on the third place, maybe it is about your colleagues, because colleagues, they rely on you. They know what you are capable of, and they want you to use your brain in full mode. So you should be always tired, but always accessible. This was sayings for gusars: slightly unshaven and slightly drunken.
Словно око Саурона, но Саурона созидательного, направляйте свои усилия на правильные вещи. А мы рассмотрели навык внимания и чем он полезен именно вам. Всем мира.